This video will be a recap on our systems of equations. We'll talk about solving by graphing, substitution, and elimination. And my challenge will be if I can do this in less than 7 minutes. So let's talk about solving by graphing first. And so this was to get us thinking about what a system of equations is. So we have some information here. Costume designer needs some silver and gold thread for the costumes for a school play. We know that she needs a total of 240 yards. So you can see right there, we have a length constraint. At a store, she sells thread by the yard. Silver thread costs 4 cents a yard. We have quantity there. Gold thread costs 7 cents a yard. And we have this other constraint of the designer has $15 to spend on the thread. How many of each color should she get if she's buying exactly what is needed and spending all of her budget? So answering the question here means finding a pair of values that meets both constraints simultaneously. And so we can write that system of equations that you see there at the bottom. The length constraint, x plus y, is equal to 240. And then the cost constraint, x plus y, with that 4 cents a yard and 7 cents a yard, is equal to 15. So when we graph both equations, the point where they intersect is going to be the solution to our system of equations. It's the pair that meets both constraints. And so every single point on the graph of x plus y equals 240 is a pair of values that meets the length constraint. And every point on the graph of the other equation is a pair of values that meets the cost constraint. But only this point, 60, 180, is a point that meets the cost and the length constraint, and so is a solution to our system of equations. Sometimes graphing, though, isn't the best way to go because you don't necessarily end up with nice, even answers. And so we need a different method that we can always use. And I'm going to show you how to solve this system, both with substitution and elimination on the same system of equations, so you can see that you've got some choice there. So I'll start out with substitution. And in order to substitute, I need to rewrite one of these equations in terms of x or y. And so I'll start by just adding y to each side of this equation. And I've got x equals 11 plus y, which means now up here, I know that x is equal to 11 plus y. I need to not forget about my parentheses because it's equal to the whole expression 11 plus y. And I need to not forget to distribute when I go to evaluate. So I have 22 plus 2y plus y equals 4. I'm going to combine my like terms and subtract 22 from each side all in one step. And when I divide each side by 3 to end this, I end up with y is equal to -6. And so now what I can do is I can go back to my equation and plug in this -6 for y, and then I can figure out what x would be equal to. So let's look at that top equation. 2x plus, instead of y, it would be -6, is equal to 4. I'm just going to rewrite that as 2x minus 6. Then I'll add 6 to each side. I have 2x equals 10. And x is equal to 5. Don't forget, I need an x and a y value. I need an ordered pair as a solution, just like I would get if I were graphing. All right, let's look at how I could have approached this one using elimination. So elimination, I can see from here that I'm going to want to, in order to eliminate a variable so I can solve, I'm going to want to add. So 2x plus x is 3x. This is how I could tell I wanted to add because I know that y plus a negative y would be 0. And 4 plus 11 is 15. And I divide by 3 on each side. I end up with x equals 5. Now, just from the other one, I know that that's the correct answer. So I know if I substitute x for 5, then I would end up with a -6 for my y. So I don't need to do that again because I use the same system of equations. But when I use elimination, I'm able to eliminate or get rid of either x or y. Then the final thing we talked about is sometimes it's not possible to be able to eliminate something until I do a little bit of multiplication. And so notice that I don't have an easy equation that I can eliminate by adding or subtracting. So I'm going to start by multiplying this whole top equation by 3. And now I'll have 6x plus 9y equals 45. Don't forget to do it with every single term. And now I am able to use that elimination method.